Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Amazing guests the world over with incredible insights. They've often been through some sort of transformative personal journey, like we're all on. We're all on our unique life path. But the difference is they're doing something for others. They're often giving service. We've had international best-selling authors, a White House physician to the U.S. president, the youngest Delta Force operator ever admitted to Delta Force, studied naturopathy, and many other healers of many different modalities. We've had a Super Soul Sunday Oprah guest on. And we've even had Ian Stenlake, Australian actor. If you've got Amazon Prime and if you watch Sea Patrol, it's Captain Mike Flynn. He is wonderful. Check out that episode. I'd like to welcome what I'll call a recurring guest on the show from Canada. She's a rock star. She won or received the accolade and award from LA this year as like Energy Healer of the Year for 2024. Her book that came out in 2024 is a bestseller. She's a show host, again, healer, just fantastic personality, cuts right through it, cuts to the chase. So I'm super lucky and counting my stars for knowing her. It's Tracy L. Clark. How do you remember her name? TLC. That says it all. Tracy, welcome to the show.
Good to be here. I know. I'm glad my parents gave me some good initials, right?
Yes. And
I
you've
am the learning channel.
the learning channel is
Yeah,
another way to do it.
TLC, Tender Loving Care Learning Channel. Yeah.
And speaking of which, people can go to your many other episodes. If you go to my website and look up Angels, Positivity, and Love, there's a giant menu of album show art that you can pick and choose. But you'll easily spot TLC and how many times she's been on the show or panels. She's done her origin story there. You can check out near-death experiences, being kidnapped as a child, lots of other stuff, trauma, rama.
Yeah.
Here you are today, and we've got a lot of trauma going on in North America. Without getting too much into the politics and respecting all sides, how can we talk about this in terms of vibrational opportunity for growth for everybody?
Yeah. Well, we all have trauma. Everybody has trauma, whether it's physical trauma, mental, emotional, spiritual. And it's really important to understand that if you are, now this can be anything. You can apply this to anything in your life. If you are overreactive to something, so how do you know that trauma isn't in the field anymore? You're neutral. You can listen to both sides. You can understand whether it doesn't matter what it is in life. You can listen to both parties and you can be objective and neutral. Now that's how you know you've worked through your trauma. So if someone tells me, for example, they're crying, they're over whatever, they've been kidnapped or raped or whatever, people are like, how do you not react? Like, because they don't have any trauma of that in my field anymore. It's gone. So we work on it. It gets out of your nerve system. So when you're overreactive to something or you're hardcore, like it has to be like this, you're not listening, you know, whether it's that situation or not. So we could say you saw something on TV, you're overreactive because there's a fear that's being pulled up in your trauma body from somewhere in your lifetime. Then now you have fear. So you lop onto what everybody else is saying and you become overreactive. And a lot of people, when they start to realize that they're being overreactive, then they come back out and go, what am I afraid of? What trauma's in my body? Because it's bringing up an energy where you're like, remember when this happened. So in my case, if I had trauma, it'd be like, remember when you got kidnapped and remember what happened. And then your body spins energetically. It's like, oh my God, it's coming. Right. And now you're on alert. You're doing this all the time. When it's gone though, you're like, okay, well, what's good about this? I'm not getting. How's this affecting me in a positive way? How is this working for me? Those old, tools that people would say. And then you're like, okay, I get it. It's changed. So a lot of people also get trauma when there's change and they don't understand it. And it's no different than it'll reference point another energy in the body where change didn't go the way you thought, even though if you actually look back, it worked out better for you. So the trauma energy is really like, if you look through thousands of years, we've been dealing with trauma. Go back to kings and queens and oppression and, the way it's you do this or off with your head. Like, we're not like that. Thank God. Like, I don't like you. We're going to boil you. Remember hanging people, all that stuff. If people don't realize that created trauma in family lines, war is trauma. Like, so your body energetically can pick up on all sorts of things. If you're afraid of war because you've had a past life where you had war and something bad happened, you could go, why am I so overreactive? Like watching a show, right? People watch war shows and they get so triggered. It's because there's something in your field that remembers that. And if you don't deal with it, then you can end up right fighting, hear me, see me. And that's the trauma that's coming off the planet. Because what people don't realize half the time, you get it, I get it, is all the trauma that's been on the planet. A lot of us have been working to help. She's a great cleaner. She can clean herself. But a lot of us have been also helping. That's why when you go to different countries, if there's been a lot of trauma, you can feel it. You can see it. It's still being cleaned off the earth. And because there's still a lot of war on earth in many ways, I'm not just talking fighting, I'm talking war in every levels, that's also being cleaned and trying to be released off the earth. So you will feel it that way too. So it's trauma's a lot of levels, but your body, as you know, your soul, your spirit is brilliant. It can reference it. And so many people say to me, I don't understand why this is affecting me so much. It's a fear of the change that is bringing up trauma in your cell memory from another part of your life, this life or another lifetime.
Well, you didn't know it, but you just explained an entire aspect of Buddhism or Zen Buddhism. When the master
Wow.
says, "Is that so?" to any sort of news, whether it's good or bad. There's many classic stories where someone's handed a child, a baby, and told they're the father and they're not. And they say, "Is
Right.
so?" They care for the child. 2 years later, the mother fesses up who the real dad is. The parents come back, baby, and the monk or whoever it is, the
Yeah.
fisherman, hands the child back and says, "Is that so?" You just explained how reacting is something entirely different. And that's a part of thinking, which is also rejecting fear-based. It's 1% of negativity to a higher amount. And that essentially is the building blocks for war and conflict and everything else. If people would just be or listen more, there'd be less conflict in any given situation. And hopefully that's where we're
And understand that again, everybody's coming from an experience that they're working through, which isn't necessarily yours or my experience, right? So, we gravitate energetically to people that are on our same frequency. I was saying this today to someone actually that, if you ever read Power versus Force, where they talk about the different, energetic levels. And if you're around people, for instance, that are, drinking or doing drugs, I'm not shaming you. I'm just saying there's an energy, there's a frequency they've measured. You're at that 0 to 50. Now, in that space, right, they use prophets and people like Jesus and all these things. They were vibrating at like 1,000 or more, right? And now I'm sure when I look at the energies, those frequencies have gotten even way higher than when that was done, right? So you look at it and you're like, all right, so if you're in this mode and you have a lot of fear and you're running at that maybe 0 to 75, all your friends and people are going to be in that space, right? So now you're going to be ping ponging fear energy off each other, which will then ping pong more of that trauma in the field until you deal with it. And then you move up and then you're going to move out. And that's the part where everyone goes, oh, my circles have changed. My friends have changed. Yeah, because now your vibration, you're no longer here. You're here. So your vibration moved. That's all that happened. They're not bad. They're not labeled. Don't label them. They're just in a different vibration. And your job is to keep moving through. It's kind of like when people always say to me, Tracy, what's my purpose? I said, your purpose is to get through the challenges of life with ease and grace so the universe can give you more experiences. Oh, you did really well on that trial. You've closed it up. Good. Then the more you get through those little trials, the more the energy opens for ease and grace. Because the universe is like, okay, you got it. Good job. Well done.
And there was a little David Hawkins in there, right?
What?
The energy scale thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No. Yeah, exactly. Power versus force. Yeah, that's what that is, right? So that's where that comes from, right? Yeah, it
Sorry,
is the
people can check that out. And we've
yeah.
had about 5 shows in the last, I don't know, 140 episodes where people have really referenced David Hawkins. So if people look around, they can spot those.
Oh yeah, with power versus force. Yeah, and it's incredible. Like people need to really I always say it's a great book to reference because it's really will allow people to have a better understanding of why it's important to do the energy work, why it's integrative, why it's important to connect with the universe, the angels, your guides, because again, the vibration when you're connecting, as you know, with the angels and guides, lifts your vibration up. So no different than when you hold something up and you ask that angel to come forth, right? It lifts the vibration. That can also move us out of the trauma state. And right now, I don't know about you, Michael, but I have seen more off-world angelic presence on the earth than ever before. Like this is game changer mode, which can also make people very much trauma and fear mode because they can feel the energy, but if they've never been taught, they don't know what they're feeling. So now they can be scared.
Yeah.
Versus this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like the cantina scene in Star Wars is the best I can do. There's a lot of folks frequenting the bar that's called Earth, or at least we'll put it in the opposite way. We're not the only casino on the Vegas Strip in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Um,
Good way to put it.
I
Yeah.
have a quote for you from Gary Zukav's Seat of the Soul, and maybe we
Yeah.
can have you keep going with the same theme that you're on. You're on a real pitch here.
Yeah.
You change the way that you shape the light, which is flowing through you by
Yes.
changing your consciousness.
Yes. So the more your so you've probably seen that you might have, a lot of people have probably seen this video. If not, I'll just reference. There's a scientist that came out and realized that, when they went in the rainforest and they hooked up the trees to all these electromagnetic fields and they saw them singing and dancing, right? It was beautiful. And so they've been doing this with people, obviously, because there's a lot of science behind what we do, but it's the reason the science is coming forth is because it's proving what we all just say, feel, and think. So people need that, right? So you know how they did the same thing with humans and they could measure exactly, like I think they took 25,000 people and they're like, you're in joy, you're in fear, you're in happiness, you're in love, and they could see it. And then they realized, because we all know the highest vibration is authenticity. So everyone thinks it's love, but you go to authenticity now, and they've proven this now. So it gets out there, people, and they get confused. And what I say is what's happening too is you're right. When you change that energy, but how do you change it? It's your subconscious to your conscious going to that highest vibration of authenticity. Meaning when people ask me what that is, right? Your words match, you believe in what you're talking about, you're living in your truth, right? We can have these conversations. And when that shifts and that paradigm shifts and you start to really connect, the energy inside you changes quite drastically. So if you're just in joy, you have that one vibrational shift, right? But if you're going all the way to authenticity, that vibration as it shifts, then that hooks into manifesting quicker. That also hooks in to loving differently, how you love, right? Unconditionally and not in abuse, not in a needy way, but in an allowance way. And so the energy I've noticed with a lot of people that are hooking into their authenticity, that's why so many people right now are like, why is my life getting on track? Why have I met the love of my life? I've got my businesses flowing now. There's opportunities coming because they've been connecting that vibration. When it comes through, you're now learning to work with that energy at a bigger capacity, which means it is changing. So it's like they're showing it right now, the energy, they're showing it like a cube of that matrix, but very sacred geometry that comes into the body and it starts to pull, shift, and change the energy. So I say it's working like this. You and I work with our hands. It's like working like this, where the energy's like kneading bread almost. So the light shifts in you, which raises your consciousness and awareness, allowing you to have a stronger intuition. So you create quicker.
Would you say they've done the work or they've done the letting go, allowing, or is it both?
It's a little bit of both. And it's a constant learning. Like we're all learning how to achieve that at a higher level. And that's where we're moving right now, right? Like, how do we, because what happens that we should be able to activate our gifts to levitate. You should be able to activate your gifts to be telepathic. Now, a lot of us are, right? We can tune in and go, oh yeah, I had you in my dream, or I thought of you yesterday. Like, yeah, you were on our same page, right? So we can do that, but it's activating those gifts more. So the first level I always see, and I know we've worked through, is getting rid of the trauma, right? You're changing that energy. You're removing that trauma out of the body, out of the spirit. So you're connecting deeper. And then it's that next level of learning to activate the real sensory systems inside you. So you see, feel, hear better. And then it's another level where, we should all be walking through walls. So we keep going.
I have a guest, he or she, try not to say any more on that, but we spent a year and a half. The goal initially was 2 inches or 2 centimeters out of their chair, levitate.
Yeah.
It switched to a dime moving, and it did happen multiple times, thanks to angels, the universe, by just applying, asking, and receiving.
Yeah.
Dime, I think, is easier for the brain.
Yes.
With that, I'm going to jump us into Sage, Seeing My Light, and with your permission, this is coming out later. I think it's in 2025. Can you do something with your hands one way with the highest intent? You're not picking up on anybody's baggage. It's only love,
No.
light,
Yeah.
and compassion. So I'm buying you time by blowing you sage. And you don't
Yeah.
really need any time to do just something fun where you're
No.
sending out light energy. I'll use a word I've never used in my entire life, activation. I see it all the time on social media.
Activation,
Yeah,
activation,
activation, ascension, all that stuff, man. To me,
creation.
I could
Yeah.
spend another 5 years studying what that means.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll call it letting go though.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah. For
stage.
sure.
People can catch it. I'm lighting it. It's through two screens. Who cares? Give
Yeah.
yourself permission to let go and set your intent. Ask
Yeah.
angels, the universe, to help you out of your head into your heart and your schnoggin, even if it's broken or it's never worked for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You can still taste, smell the sage energetically. But why settle for linear when you can also have flowers and even
Yeah.
ocean? And Tracy in Canada, what are you getting?
Yeah. So what we're going to do is actually, so it's like moving. It's, if you can focus on the heart drive, I call it the heart drive, which is like your hard drive in the computer. So if you can focus on that, it's like a beam of light that goes through, but what it does is you're going to see and feel like a screen, almost like your computer screen, things that we're going to clear out, clutter. We're going to actually move them out of the body. So it's like, I'm going to count to 3. When we do it, we'll go into the heart. We're going to delete that energy, but it's going to be replaced. So it'll look like for you and should feel like a beam of light coming through and expanding through the whole body. And it's going to start to rewire and rewrite your programming, meaning that it'll bring you more into alignment in the midline and allowing you to receive what you're to receive with your connection to whatever you call it, God, universe, divine, I don't care, Pokeroo, call it whatever you want, but your connection, your guides, and it's going to open up. So look at it like you're getting, if you have a 256 gigabyte in your hard drive, meaning how you're connecting, we're going to go to a terabyte. If you have a terabyte, you're going to go to ask for 5 terabytes. So it starts to open the hard drive. So the body is strong to receive more information. So your connection.
Can you have everybody breathe or relax at first just to set?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to do that. So basically what we're first going to do is take a few breaths. And as you're exhaling, just feel that energy, that light that actually comes down, that energy, pull it from the top of your head. It'll go right down all of your arms, your hands. It goes all the way down the middle, your torso. Take it down your feet and open the bottom middle of your feet and allow the energy to go into the earth. And just see and feel, if you can, like a big crystal. Doesn't matter what color, it's your favorite color. And anchor as if you've got like little tree roots, but anchor them in around the crystal because it's going to hold you really nice and strong through your body. And then we're going to allow that energy to just connect with your universal source energy as we open up your programming. So just hold this for 1 second. We're going to go right through the heart drive because that's going to send them. As soon as we go 3, you'll feel the energy go from the heart drive to every part of your body, down below to that grid, and all the way back up to your connection to source. 1, 2, 3. And actually what I can see for the whole group that watches this, there's stuff actually flying out of the body. So I'm just going to command to redirect it. It's going to go like to God, universe, divine. They'll deal with it. We don't have to deal with it. Don't even have to look at it. Don't even have to think about it. So it looks like fragments, as asteroids would be like dissolved and blown out. So they're just leaving the body. Thank you. I say God, you say universe divine, that we're going to override and speak in that new activation, the new actually light codes that connect you to your guides, your teams, your angels, everybody that is on your team. There's a lot of extra teams over here. That would be the extra, off world that are helping you into who you are, that you deal with every day. And we're just going to allow that to sit. So thank you, God. We're just going to speak in a new hard drive, basically. You get an upgraded hard drive. But that energy, which is interesting, Michael, you can see the asteroid energy looks like it's pulling out of the midline of the spine, meaning that's going to go for another couple of weeks. So people could get thoughts of maybe some old situations or old friends. Don't call them, don't just say, thank you. It's going. Thank you. Ask your angels to take it. Ask your guides to take it. Thank you. It'll start to leave. But what that's also doing, they're showing, which is really cool, is that the spinal system, your nerve system, is getting nice and strong, which is going to bring in new opportunities, new love, new whatever you're focusing on. Stay, this is a caution, stay very, very clear. They're screaming in my ear for 2025. Stay only focused on what you want to create, what you want to bring in, and keep the distraction out. If you do that, the spinal system will go up and down, and the vibration out of you will grow exponentially, allowing new things to come in quicker.
I love it.
Yeah.
Holy Toledo. Holy cow. Holy smokes.
Getting a brand new, iPhone versus working on iPhone 1. That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at all things you can do now that you couldn't do on iPhone 1, right? But now on iPhone, I don't know, what is it, 16 or whatever, you can do all these things that most people don't even know their phone can do, right? So your body, your connection, your hard drive is now expanding into that space.
And change happens. To that end, I'll do an Albert Einstein quote for you. Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures in the whole of nature and its beauty. And some might add, and the universe or the galactic community as well. Talk to us more about how that's actually the opportunity for growth and expansion.
Well, yeah, because if it's so funny, I was teaching this so much this year, is that we get very comfortable with our demons or our bad habits, whatever you guys want to call it. Again, whatever say, you guys got to, whatever works for you, we're golden. But we get comfortable with that. We get comfortable situations. We get comfortable in relationships, or we get comfortable with friends, or whatever it is. And what we're asked now is to get uncomfortable. But when we start to get uncomfortable, right, starting to feel new energies or hear energies or make new decisions, we have a gap. And in that gap can feel like chaos. It can feel crazy. But the way I want you to look at it is, pretend you've gone into a mud bath and you came out of the mud bath. So you went into clean, you come out of the mud bath. What happens? You're covered. And when it dries, it's cakey, right? And the first thing you do, you start picking at it to get it off. And then you run in the shower and get it off. Well, you have to understand, for people listening, when you go from this comfortable to getting to something new, you're going to have to go through the mud bath, and you're going to be cakey for a while. You can't run into the shower, because what has happening, and what I've seen with the thousands of people I've worked with, what I've seen, and myself included, is as that's coming off the system, there's an ease and a grace in there to be gentle. Spirit doesn't want you to go into full cardiac arrest. That's why people are like, it's not happening right away. But it's being gentle. It's taking the layers off so you can adjust. It's like baby steps every step of the way. It's sort of like when somebody says they want to win the lottery. Well, that's why most lottery winners lose their lottery, because they're not in the frequency to maintain it and keep it. So what's happening now with people that are declaring there's things they would like, you're going to be shaken. You're going to go through the mud to get over here. But the energy has to be very solid. And for it to be a solid foundation, Spirit is watching. Are you ready? Are you ready? And then you will still get the test. Did you get it? Did you speak up? Were you in your truth? Were you there? And so then when you get here, and this is what people don't get, they think that they get the relationship, then now we're comfortable. No. Now you're in a whole other growing, right? Now you're in a whole other understanding. And that's going to continue to grow and change and morph. So it's going to be maybe uncomfortable getting to know different things with people. But if you're willing to go through the change, and you know the change is positive and it's working for you, that's how you're going to get a greater sense of a grounding in your actual physical body. And the more grounded your physical body is, the more energy of what you want can come to you a lot quicker.
I feel like that's what we were just talking about before we started the show. Essentially, is you can just focus on the letting go part, but dreaming big and allowing the universe to bring it in. And so you'll have a tremendous foundation. Don't worry about the when or the how. Let the universe handle those details. Focus on what you can focus on. Here's a quote for you from a NASA astronaut, Story Musgrave. Getting out of the comfortable path, that's what exploration is all about. And I feel like that's what you were just telling us.
Well, yeah, because it's like, rather than, oh my God, this change is here, I don't want it. Like I see this. There's things I see with people I've known in the past and stuff, and they're all like, oh my God, things are changing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, why can't it be good? But people are so afraid of change because, again, comfortable, right? Why can't it be good? Versus what I always say is, wow, this is changing. All right, I'm holding on for the ride, but I know that something amazing is on the other side. So it's like, look at it like going down one of those, I don't know, those water rides where you're like, what's at the bottom? I'm scared, but on the other side. So if Spirit's bringing you change, like look at it in the world right now. People are terrified of change. But why can't we're so locked up in opinions, points of views, expectations, how it has to be. Why can't we, you say, let go and trust that Spirit is bringing us this change? to better everyone, because the change you make, you and I make, better the lives of everyone else. The changes we make on a global scale better the lives of everyone else. So if you're only looking at the change for you, you're missing that you are afraid to go through the change because now your whole life might change. Your marriage might end, your drinking might stop, your drugs might end. But what does that mean? Now your marriage is going to end because you're now not in the vibration. But couldn't that change be better? Because now maybe you're a better parent for your children or a better friend to other people. It becomes contagious. So we look at the change, look at it outside of yourself. So if people listening can look outside themselves, you're changing so you can help a whole network of people and have their lives better, which is what's better than that?
I've got another quote from Angels written in 2014. If anybody thinks I wrote this, you're the best. It's on Amazon. Two-time #2 bestseller. No one ever gets to claim that.
Yeah.
But it's an appendix in the back of a little 15-minute book called Listening to Angels. The headline thing is, what's up with mankind? Why angels now? Why are they so available for us all, or galactic beings or loving beings of light? Here's just 3 paragraphs. And then if I can get you to, it's, I think, right in the flow of what you're talking about. Awareness for mankind is on the horizon. Call it a spiritual awakening if you wish. It's a chance for all to grow. Mankind is ready for more unconditional love and compassion for all. And more compassion by all, for all is needed. Mankind is ready for change from rat race mode. Happiness is obtained in the absence of ego. Ego's afraid to be vulnerable, to let go and be in the unknown. Again, there's nothing to lose and nothing to gain here. Move past seeing the negative. Compassion can be taught through one's actions. How? Slowing down would do a world of wonder for most people. Doing it consistently is where the problems and opportunities lie. So stay present. And the last little bit, start right now. Letting go means less thinking. Do not get lost in perceived tasks, roles, ego, drama, politics, etc. Being in the moment is to do compassion for all. Tracy L. Clark in Canada, keep going because you're on this complete vein in the mountainside today.
Well, the thing that I always like to tell people, and you probably know this, is I get up in the morning, and you should get up in the morning and say, how can I make my life better today? Improve. How can I make if you have a partner, how do I make my partner's life better today? And how can I make the people's lives that I touch better today? Go out. I gave one of my mastermind groups this little technique. They went out for a week, and their job was to have an awareness of what everybody they came into contact with required. So maybe it was a cashier that, needed the uplift. Maybe it was, oh, they couldn't pay for that. I'm going to pay for that. Maybe it was, wow, Michael, your shirt, you're rocking it today. Your hair. Yeah, you got there rocking it, like maybe it's like thank you for making me laugh, or thank you for opening that door, or have an awareness. Because when most people, that's where they get stuck in the ego. They see what they require. But when you have the awareness of what another human requires, the energy you're exchanging amplifies. You're not looking for anything in return. You're just looking, how can I have this awareness? And that gets you, 1, out of the ego. But 2, there's a humility in it, because what they did is they came back and they were like, Tracy, wow, 1, I didn't realize I could really affect somebody's life. Now think about if you're the person walking into there going, you didn't do this to me, blah, blah, blah. Poor people at call centers, right? People call them and they're crapping on them, when it's like, wait a minute. Like when I have to call the bank because there's a problem, or call someone, this is not your issue. I'm not upset with you at all. I'm going to tell you what's happening, and I need your help on how we're going to solve it. And I appreciate you helping me. I'll tell you, like phone companies, whatever, those people will give you whatever you want because you've prefaced versus throwing up on them. So what we have is a world where people want to throw up on people. That is energy, right? So when you have that awareness, you will start to step out of your ego. And what happens naturally, and this is what they've been feedbacking to me, is that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this naturally now. Naturally. And it was always so much. My daughter and her partner, he was in the car. We went through a drive-through for coffee. I was visiting them, and he's like, I have watched you. Every time you go somewhere, you are uplifting the people. You're so nice. They're happy. I said, but that's my job. And he's like, no, I realized I'm kind of a jerk when I go through these places. I'm like, yeah, like just give me my coffee kind of thing. And he's a nice guy. It's not that he's not. He just didn't have the awareness. He's like, I gotta actually, I could change somebody's day. I could be better in that. And so this is a really cool story, because after he did that and had the awareness, the next day my daughter and her dogs, they wanted to go through this drive-through again. So we go through, they want another cup of coffee. I'm like, okay. And they looked in front and I said, well, isn't that interesting? Look at that man. He's got the same kind of dogs as you. He's in front. And so my daughter's like, oh, they did this little thing in the drive-through. Very nice to him. He drives away. We pull up and the lady goes, here you go. She goes, your order's paid for you. That guy paid for it for you. And my daughter's boyfriend's like, what? I've never seen that. I've never had that happen. And I'm like, yeah, but look at the kindness you gave him, which lifted his day, and look at it came back to you in a different way. And so I said, and they weren't expecting it. So no expectations. That's a zero, no expectation. You just do it. And that's the awareness. And I can't tell you, it's a simple exercise that people go, well, I know that it's simple. I'm like, how often do you do it? Truthfully, how often do you do it? I'm like, try it and make a conscious effort and it will open up doors for you.
And couldn't the same thing be said about social media? That it would take a
Oh,
lot of getting out of what we know and how we reject, react, and resist whatever we see on social media. Because remember, Ananda Mayama said it right out of India. Everyone's right. I've never met anybody who starts the week off saying, I'm going to go waste all my energy this week or be wrong.
yeah.
It's the opposite, especially today, at least in America.
For
But
sure.
you've got the opportunity to do the purchasing of coffee in sort of a metaphorical way on social media with posts. You'd have to be
Yeah,
very poetic and almost guru saint-like level
for
in this day and
sure.
age to pull it off.
Yeah, but it's also these are the shifts that are coming now. Like I always imagine I spend time asking spirit for a planet where Star Trek days. So obviously everybody has what they want, but there is a kindness, there's an awareness that it's a planet that is very, very peaceful, which is where in time we're going to for sure. And we're already on that path, but it's going to, and it will speed up. And I know maybe it should be there in our lifetime. I'm gonna, do this extension of living. we're top. I'm like, okay, here we are. Maybe I can extend that out, but it should really start to come to fruition. I've seen it. Like we will have a planet where people they're not going to be living on tents and streets because there's no need for any of that, right? There's no need. There's more than enough in the world for everyone. So the more people say, how can I make a change? It's not donating $100 to this charity cause. It's go within and start doing it on the streets like that. Like start with a compliment. If you only have $2 in your bank, start with a compliment. Open a door. Ask to hold a bag for somebody. Like I get seniors, like we'll be in parking lots and they'll just walk up to us like, can you help me? I'm lost. Can you do this? Oh, we never ask anybody ever. Why do they do that? Because they can feel there's a safety. And imagine when they're like, we never do this. We never feel like there's a place we can go and ask. Imagine being able to walk up to anybody on the street, to being able to ask to give somebody a hand or a help. So there's a lot of amazing healing happening on the planet, and it starts with awareness and authenticity and moving your garbage out of your body, your emotions out of your nerve system. So we're getting back to this top of the hour was getting rid of the trauma.
I have four angels for you. Joy will be first. What does she have to add to this dialogue?
Yeah. You know what? One of the things that I love about Joy, and she says quite often when she comes in, is please never forget to dance and laugh. Because people forget this, and she just reminded me again, when you dance, and there is scientific proof behind this too, if people need that, but I've seen it for years. And I was a dancer as a little girl, and it saved my butt. And I used to say, dancing saved me in a lot of ways because I could escape. What I learned later through the science and doing energy work, dancing releases trauma out of the body. So she's like, dance, sing, laugh. All these things release trauma out of the body. So if you can really listen to what she's saying, just never forget that vibration and you'll let it go. Yeah.
And then Charlotte's an angel who once said 7% less thinking a day is the Olympic gold medal. Everyone can do that, and that's the max you need to do for letting go. It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And what's
Don't
Charlotte got for us?
don't be afraid to go after your dreams. Don't be
And then I've
afraid.
got a Min and a heart-shaped angel named Heather. Here's Min, Pacific Princess.
She's like everyone has to remember they're warriors inside, but warriors of light.
Be a warrior, not a worrier.
Yes. Oh, I like that. I like that. Exactly. Be a warrior of the light. I love it.
Speaking of which, she's tied to Africa. If you want to see her that way,
Mm,
a woman from
yeah.
Africa or Amazonian goddess, like a Wonder Woman, tough. People at
Yeah.
home can put their hand out, feel the vibe, breathe through your mouth, turn it up a little.
It's like something we said earlier, but it's weird. It's like watching her with like a staff, like activating like your superpowers, like at the end, there's like this long, beautiful golden staff, but it's got like I want to say jewels. I guess they would be like crystals, like amethyst and stuff. And then at the top, you can see it's very diamond, but she's like, it's like activation, activate what you have inside of you. She's a huge activator. That's massive.
She
That's
is. I'll put her back up for the final
yeah,
question. This is more generic as if we're doing the interview.
yeah,
But how
yeah,
can people each day wake up and they don't need to worry about where they are on the curve? Are they an
yeah,
international best-selling author? Have they
yeah,
never heard of Oprah, Super Soul Sunday, or even the word spirituality or the idea
yeah,
of being in the heart? It doesn't
yeah.
matter where they're at. What phraseology could they use in the morning to be like, hey, universe, good morning. You're beautiful. I'm beautiful. Sock it to me is how I'd say it. But what does Heather say is a great carte blanche
The
blank
mantra.
check? Yep, mantra to start the day.
Today is more glorious than yesterday.
Oh man, that's surefire way to keep it going up trajectory.
Today is more glorious than yesterday. And it's so cool. I got chills saying that because she says exactly like what you say, just by announcing that with your feet on the ground, like today is more glorious than yesterday. It's exactly that. She shows that like you're moving up, you're moving up. So in anything you're asking for, working on, you're moving up that ladder of life.
Okay, now you didn't expect this, and you've never done this on any of the shows. You've been on the show like 3 or 4 times, 2 panels at
Yes.
least. You're a regular. Get a
And
compliment
it's
from
fun.
Joy, get 2 compliments from Joy, but could you share one out loud? 2 compliments
Oh.
from Joy, you're busted, spotlight on you, and now you're taking
Oh, yeah.
deep,
And I don't
fun,
usually I
and
don't
love.
go into that. I'm like, here we are.
2 compliments plus one that you can share out loud. If you need an edited version from her, she's your press secretary. That's fine.
She said, we're just really proud that you stayed steadfast, even through the ups and downs. You never wavered.
And anybody who's heard your origin story on earlier shows in 2023 or this year
Yeah.
or earlier will know you've been through some ebbs and flows, to say the minimum. Here's
Yeah.
Charlotte. 2 compliments, share one out loud, but catch an ancient Egyptian incense smell, plus blue ripples of light all around you to make you laugh. If we get a snort, we win.
Yeah. Well, she says it's time to rock it, sister.
We're like a
Okay.
millisecond away from your biggest laugh, which I love the most. Okay. It's like rainbow light. Here's Min, Mother Hawaii Pacific Princess. She's a lot of light waves of energy and water. Catch Anguilla or some Caribbean fantastic island.
Yeah.
Get 1, 2, 3 compliments. Get a power word for you. You're not sharing that out loud.
Yeah.
And what do you get to share out loud that you were just reminded of that is part of your fabric?
Part of my fabric. Stay humble and stay kind.
Okay, last but not least, your Amazonian goddess, Heather.
Oh, beautiful. This is for me, but for everybody else too. It's like she showed it like she says we're igniting a new level of your inner power. And as much as I take that compliment from her and say thank you, she's pointing to all this like this. Like so that means if the way I always see it, and she's very clear on this, is if that's happening here and even the compliments here, you're hearing it, it's happening for you too.
And then we're segueing into sort of a different paradigm or a different area of topic. Um, Maybe Charlotte can just handle it. You've got a great way to say it. You call it the off-world community or unconditional love galactic
Yeah.
community. What
Yes.
does Charlotte say to then have you say out loud that kicks us off and gets you going, explaining for everybody, like, hey, relax. A lot's
Yeah.
going on, and all you have to do is enjoy the ride.
Yeah. And it's interesting because she says, even though you can't always, all of you can't see what's here on the planet, we're here and we're a greater presence than what you could actually ever believe. And interesting when she shows that, and I said it before, but now it's like amplified. So there's another part that I didn't see before that you can see is amplified. So it's like, we have this. But again, what she's showing, I got chills saying this, is we as species need to trust in them and stop rejecting. So we need to trust more in what is happening behind the scenes. So it's sort of, when somebody, so the way they show it to me, spirit showing to me is, if you see a show where they're out in war or something's happening and you're like, they're going to get saved, but you don't know how. And last minute, like the superhero comes in and saves them. They're showing that that's really what's going on. So we got to stay in our lane, but also allow them to be that superhero, that we're going to be okay. But we're not, they're very, very clear right now. We're not to know everything, because as humans, we spend too much time, like you said, attached to the outcome, attached to how it has to be. They're at a level where they know where they're going. They're not attached to what it is. They're so clear. They're cutting, they show it like cutting like a knife through something very clean, and they need our trajectory out of it right now. So we stay in our lane, let them stay in their lane. And you got to press in. I say faith, like to me, that definition is faith is trust, no believe, like you never have before. Whatever that looks like for you, that's your version of things you can't see, right? You have to have that blind faith. And she's like, you've got to have that more than ever right now. But they're busy. Like they show them so busy. Like it's really powerful.
Is it fair to say thinking is a form of density, or our fear or our rejecting worry and stress and obsessing about everything being explained is sort of a density that just gets in the way? It's like clutter that's unnecessary that can slow the process a little bit down. It can only delay it. Ultimately,
no, and
trust.
But you're 100% right, because what have the darker energies done to us as children? Go to school, think, focus on these only few areas, think. They don't teach you to feel. Now, I always say that one day we'll get the kids to learn what we all know. When they teach you to feel, then you can go, I did this the other day, something, and this is how I work. It's like you could overthink something and then you talk yourself out of something. Whereas everyone goes, oh, I felt it right away, right? But we're not taught to work that muscle.
You're talking fantasy football here. I should have played that guy last weekend.
Right? So you're like, well, I knew. But again, we go back to the brain. Now let's rationalize it. Let's figure this out. What are the 6 outcomes? No. We all know, you and I know, you go to the intuition. I did this something I was doing in the financial world the other day, because that was my old world, right? And I was like, no, I just knew it. Like the feeling was just do this. And I did it. And then I was going to listen to some technical things, and they said exactly what I did. Yep, get rid of this, do this. So I'd already gotten it, that morning. I was listening at night. It was just spirit confirming that I was doing the right thing, but I didn't go into my head. If I'd gone into my head, I probably would have not done anything and waited to hear technicals or whatever. I went in my heart and I was like, spirit, truthfully, what do I want to do here? I heard, I felt, I did. I got out of the brain. So yes, our brain, it's analysis paralysis, because we've been programmed since birth. It was done on purpose. Now, all the work we've been doing, we're teaching each other how to feel, how to watch the signs, the angels, the guides. And that's a game changer. That's a game changer.
And part of your background, you were the first woman in Canada to sell a public company. Was it the 80s when you were 10? Just kidding.
Right.
So,
well, no, I sold my my first company, one of Canada's largest publicly traded companies.
Yep.
There have been some women there, but I was pretty young. Yeah, I was 26. It was pretty rare. Yeah, pretty rare. Yeah.
I'm going to show my energy. You don't have to show yours. I'll use this as a background. Blue sky is number 1. A shut-off TV or a t-shirt that's black works great. If you're cocky and confident, you don't need any background. Just see light everywhere, all over your dog, your pooch, the tree. Trees talk, whatever it's how much letting go will you do? And let's do the rub. Let's ditch galactic light, seeing light, incense for just 1 second. What are you allowing for daily is the real rub. And you'll find the answer is not a lot. It's rinse and repeat and do it all over again, all day long and all year long. Here's this. I'll show my light. We're doing 2 steps now, not just see my light. You'll see gold, green, yellow, whatever. Give yourself permission, be in your heart. Your heart's like an Olympic swimmer, Mark Spitz. It already knows what to do. So just give yourself a break on this. See with all of you, the Zen thing, seeing without seeing. More importantly, you get a dad joke. Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? Sure, Bert. Here's my light. And just say what you see. It'll be a little filament or a stream of light. What do you see between my fingers?
Oh, the light's turning, but there's a lot of sacred geometry in that light.
Ooh, and that was the next part. Ask the
Yeah.
universe to step in and do something fancy.
Yeah.
People have been
Lots of
getting
sacred
butterflies.
geometry. And it's
Yeah.
actually, you can, for me, I can see it. It's like, it's coming out, like it's spewing out. Like the faster you do that, the more it's spewing out. Yeah.
Oh, wild. You just did it all real fast. That's good.
Wow, spewing
And
out quickly. And it might actually affect people's stomachs, which is the processing center of the body. Because when I saw that, and I can feel in the stomach, so it's releasing whatever anybody wants to let go of the stomach and the processing center and recalibrating how we process life.
if
Cool.
anybody wants to, I'm going to go crazy here. Three guests, I think it's this year, earlier this year in
Yeah.
2024, three guests saw a vortex in the corner right there of that mirror, butterflies
Yeah.
coming through. And
Yeah.
I got asked, what did butterflies, stream of butterflies and light coming through mean to you? And I'm like, oh my God,
Wow.
that's like
Yeah.
winning the jackpot. I went off on
Yeah.
butterflies. I'm like, could there be anything cooler and higher? Maybe shooting
Yeah.
stars. So
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
shooting stars if you want. Are you seeing that already as I said it?
You can, yeah, out of that. Yeah. There's huge, huge, huge. Yeah.
Okay. Last little craziness thing. I'm making it up, but there's a regular Bic lighter name, any color that you're seeing, yellow, gold, blue. What are you seeing?
Gold.
Okay. But now I'm going to put my finger up. Ask
Okay.
angels and your galactic buddies to make it nice. And this is just my finger. I'll see if it can get hot
Yeah.
at my end.
Yeah.
See what you can see coming off my fingertip. And you get another dad joke. What's the only flower found on the human face? Ooh, my finger's getting hot.
Oh.
Tulips.
That's cute.
And someone said iris the other day. So there's actually
Yeah.
two answers.
Oh, that's right.
What are
Iris
you
word.
getting in
Yeah.
here above my finger?
Yeah, huge. It's actually it's really cool because there's green, there's yellow, there's a little bit of orange and gold that's coming off. And that's very connected up into the higher realms of how we connect. Yeah.
And then I'm sending a little your way, but just lightly so that I don't disrupt anything. Okay. What else would you like to share with us? This is big, it's heady, but it ain't about that. It's about getting to
Yeah.
the heart and talk to us the pep talk about how it's no different than having tea, going for a walk, hugging your dog. It's actually simpler than we think it is because it's not about thinking.
No, it's about feeling. It's about connecting. It's about having that awareness. It's about looking at yourself. And you know what? What I find the theme is going to be for next year is there's a little mantra. Truthfully, start asking yourself, truthfully, what do I require? What do I desire? And what am I ready for?
Ooh, I love that.
What do I require? What do I desire? And what am I ready for? Start asking now and watch throughout the whole 2025. If you can ask yourself that and you can ask Spirit, show me, angels, show me, God, show me, show me. I'm here. And I would also go one step further. Say, I expect the answers. I expect to be walking through it. I expect. And by moving that and really declaring it, watch what's going to show up. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be very, very surprised.
What do I require? What do I desire? The third one.
What do I expect? Yeah.
Oh, you had one more in there though. Expect was fourth.
Oh, did I do fourth? I don't know. When I channel,
Yeah.
I just spew them out. Now we
What
have
do I
to
require?
we got to go back again.
We'll have to rewind.
This is like when I'm teaching and people are like, what did you just say? I said, I don't know. When I channel, it just comes out.
All right. Well, hey, in the notes, this is a great chance to remind folks. Put
Yeah.
it in the note field and then please comment with emojis. What have you loved
Yeah.
about Tracy L. Clark in Canada is just her energy. Has she not lit you up? And then also hit the like button, subscribe. It's free to do so. Hit that little bell thing as well. We're a tiny show that's growing amazingly with a really big guest footprint like Tracy coming on. And we're a lot of fun. But what's been your
I could say
favorite?
something for
Yeah.
you, Michael, because I'd like to say this is for people listening, take that time and take the time because even by them hitting like and subscribe and you send an energy that will also catapult all the energy of everyone you're bringing on the show to help change the world. So if you're sitting here and you've listened and you've gone through and like, what can I do? And I will say it. Michael's never asked me to say it. Maybe you send him something like say thank you, put something in there,
The
hit the
show's
like.
never gotten a donation yet.
No,
Out of
but
the
you
blue.
know what? People ask all the time, like, have it, whether it's a donation, whether it's a
Or
thank you,
kind
whether
word.
it's a like, exactly, a kind word. Like I'm telling you, like, because that energy, if you're what it is and what you're doing is, Michael, this show you have with so many amazing people, it's fertile soil. And I always say to people, this is where you want to put your energy and you grow, and they got to give it that back. But then, you know, a lot of people go in the desert. What do I get? Don't go to what you get. I really want people to realize because by doing that, they're also going to open up their angel connection because they're giving that energy back to you. And if they'll open up their connection to guides or off world, whatever they want to call it, and it will come back to you times 10. So just go in the heart and say, how can I say thank you to you, Michael, for all the things that you're bringing and all the learnings and all the teachers and all the people. Just think about that when you're watching the show every day and what you're putting out in the world.
What would you want to leave us with that's completely different? I'm going to get you some extra experts here. I'm going to put up one galactic off-world figure, one India figure, one tiger, and one random angel as well for input to help get this all jazzed up. Here's your tiger for you. Shampooed fur. You can even reach your hand out and feel a giant shampooed fur tiger. Pure action, deity like the one that Mother Durga or Divine Mother rides on. Catch something private as well.
You know, it's interesting because before you showed me that, right away, you showed up and he said, don't let anything stand in your way.
Oh,
For everyone, let nothing stand in your way.
I'll do an angel.
He's strong.
I'm going to do an angel named John, who's synchronicity. Very dapper, likes to come across as British.
Oh,
Helps
yes.
marshal all the other angels to get stuff done.
You know what? This one's really interesting. He's actually, it's like a kind of a lesson and a teaching. He says, as you see the synchronicities, please acknowledge them and say thank you. And it's interesting because what he's showing is when you acknowledge and say, thank you, I see this, or wow, that was synchronistic, bring me more. It's almost like it gives them, it's not permission, but almost like gives them more permission to get out there and do more. So there's that gratitude of acknowledgement. They don't need your gratitude, if you get what I'm saying, but they need the acknowledgement because it's like they show it like opening a door to bring more in.
And that's what you talked about earlier about us all just allowing more, less thinking, less density, more allowing to just be like, hey, universe, do what you do best. Make it nice. Chef's choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that chef's choice. I love that.
I love it too. Hey, I'm going to do Debbie Ford for you because we're here. Shadow work expert. On the other side, we had Ariel Ford on the show.
She's lovely. Yes.
Debbie's got something good deep for you. Get a beautiful wave of light right through you and go, oof. What does she have as a reminder for everybody?
She says that the light of the glamour inside you all is shining. So let it shine. It's a glamorous. And I have to say this. It's a little bit of a side note. I have a little 18-pound dog, and he has been in the energy with us. Normally he'll curl himself, but during this time, he's like on the back, legs up. I wish I could show you a picture. He's in that whole position of God is great, God, universe is good, everything's lovely. And he is just passed out. Where normally when I'm at my desk, he's like kind of curled up. He'll be there, but not like this for the whole hour.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's loving the angels.
Here's an Isabel who's intercom, and she's like a pond that's glass of the ocean that once every 90 days, you got there at 5 a.m. There's no wind, no waves. It's glass as far as the eye can see. You should be able to really feel her and get this photo. Let her move, smile more, a wink, sparkly. We know photos can't move, but what the heck?
Oh, yes, they can.
And here's something really profound from her.
It's interesting. She says there's a shift in the consciousness that you're all aware of that's going to another level that you'll soon experience.
Okay. And for the people who are going to say, but this has happened. I'm so upset at this. I can't believe that. I am hung up on this. I am on my 5th divorce in 5 days. I'm that unlucky, and I've got really good lawyers. So I'm getting out of it really fast. And by tomorrow, I'll be on my 6th. Okay. What does she have, and what do you have for a reminder for everybody about it's not what you think it is about if it ain't about love?
Yeah, nothing. What you're walking through is the choices that you've already created. So let them go. Make a new choice.
That was a t-shirt mantra almost, like maybe from
Really?
it was a little long, but it was beautiful. Say that one more time for us and give us just Give us a little more just time on that. That was a
Yeah.
beautiful
What you're
sentiment.
walking through is the choices you've already made. So let them go. It's a reflection of what you've made. So you're making different choices. So you're walking through it and you're choosing something different now. So
So you're
remember,
saying get out of bed because you did make that bed and you've been
you
sleeping.
did. And now you're choosing to change the sheets and put something else on. So, maybe take 2 seconds and realize your picker is off. So you better like, you
And
know,
sheets are on sale.
yeah, sheets are on sale. So have some fun with it and look and have some laughter. And go through those hard times. It's also about laughing at it and going, okay, so what have I learned here? I made the choice. So also, again, everything we're living in right now, whether it's global or your own world, it's stuff you have been creating, right? Putting it out there. So now the stuff that's coming is a collective field of change or an individual field of change. So we've all made the choices, and you can always make a new choice. And so when you remember to make those new choices, maybe not going to say yes to getting married in 5 days of meeting each other. We're not in a Hallmark Christmas movie here. Like, we don't all meet and get married and fall in love in over a weekend or a week, like that's just crazy. However, when we realize the choices we've made, and it's okay to take a little bit of time, but it's the energy's been formed already. So what you're walking in, you already created. Yeah. So uncreate it.
You're getting one more quote randomly from an 18-page filled with Herman Melville, Einstein, Eckhart Tolle. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be Winnie the Pooh. But this is going to buy you time before you wrap up the show.
Love it.
And I'm editing a little. Okay, well, there's two quotes. One is from actually, it's probably Milne, but I'll say it's Winnie the Pooh. Weeds are flowers too, once you get to know them. And then Grimes. Let's do Grimes. I love this. There's a butterfly song she does. I think she's from some other off-world place, and her music is so dimensional. There's harmony in everything. It's a butterfly who waits for the world.
Wow, it's true, right? There is harmony in everything. And when we see the harmony of everything, we see what's right about everything we're walking through. And people have to remember that.
Final
and butterflies are change. People forget butterflies are change. Yeah.
Final reminder for everybody. What do you got for us? You've been a show host. You've been a guest on so many shows. What's your final wrap up for keeping it simple? It's really easy. It's fun.
Stay in the play energy. Be discernment in your discernment. Feel. Keep your authenticity and your awareness strong. And I know to some people, they can go back and go, okay, it's not. No, it's not. Get up in the day. Truthfully, how do I feel about this? Truthfully, how do I feel about this? Get out of the head and keep repeating it. If you're not sure, tap the head back to the heart. Truthfully, spirit, how do I feel about this? Watch, you'll get the answers and you'll stay straight for 2025. And that again will keep out the noise because there's going to be a lot of noise in 2025. But remember, all it is doing is shaking off the mud from the garbage that has to go.
And love allows for all to be as it already is right now. And I'm going to point out one extra holy spiritual hand grenade here. And it's what Angel said. It's you can be happy now in this very moment without a single reason. And that's problematic. Because if you've got a hard mindset, which means you're in the mind, the brain, the ego, thinking, psyche, intellect, you're resisting what is, you're a little bit of negativity or a lot of negativity. You're not doing love. And that's the option is you get to do love, you get to do the mind. It's your call.
Well, and the other thing I remind people a lot to say is I'm like, okay, truthfully, spirit, what's good about this? I'm not getting. Let's have some fun. Where it's going. Truthfully, what is good about this? I'm not getting. Have a good time with it. And you will start to raise the vibration. And then you'll probably end up starting to laugh because you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even see this. Like you might have some tears, you might have cried, but then you're like, oh my gosh, look at it. Truthfully, what is about this? I am not getting.
That was incredible. That was my favorite thing you've ever said. I loved it just because it was so practical and tactical.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy L. Clark in Canada, you're amazing. You're fabulous. We're going to have you back sooner than you think. Thank you for coming on Angels, Positivity, and Love.
Thank you so much for doing what you do every day.